After our lesson, they gave us the first scripts. 3 large folders, 1 from today's lesson and 2 more for the next topic, history and anatomy and physiology. The last one I'm already dreading. I'm not so good at remembering names of bones and muscles, and one reason why I didn't become a vet. I hope it doesn't get too deep into the subject, although I do understand the importance of it. In the afternoon, it came time for our lessons. I received my first lesson plan for the week. Today's horse I already luckily knew. It was the Tennessee Walker Duke. He was in the stalls when Darcy was showing me around, so the other horses I guess I would just have to figure out as I go. Duke was as sweet as they come, and very attentive. Grooming is always the first step at getting to know a horse. Upon Darcy's advice, I made sure I brushed him thoroughly. He watched everything I was doing and probably judging my technique. His tack wasn't difficult to find since the tack room was right next to him and everything was labeled. Then it was time to get me fixed up, take off my jacket, put on helmet and gloves, and we're done. Leading him to the riding hall, I realized that I've never been in an arena this big. It would take me a full minute just to ride one circle. So this was going to be interesting. Oh, that must be the instructor. Welcome. Oh, do continue riding, dear. I'm Mrs. Ravenhurst. The Ravenhurst? From the Ravenhurst estate? They're famous for American saddlebreds and Rocky Mountain horses and Tennessee I believe Walker. that legacy belongs to my husband and his family. I just married into it. But yes, I do help run the estate. But I also serve as judge for the Jorvik Gaited Horse Society and, of course, instructor for the academy. Oh, I'm a member of the Gaited Horse Society. Really? I don't believe I've seen you in any shows. What division? I don't ride competitions. And why not? I don't know. I get nervous and freeze up. I see. It's hard to make a name for yourself as a trainer if you do not compete. I know. Something I have to work on. Well, the Academy offers a wonderful program to help students enter competitions. Usually they don't start until the second year, but might I suggest you start earlier to work on those fears of yours? I'll think about it. Please do. Now, this is Stormhammer. What can you tell me about the horse you are sitting on? I can tell he's calm and easygoing. Has more woe than go. You need to work on your terminology, dear. Why does he have more woe, as you put it? I'm not sure yet. I've only been riding him walk so far. The gait has nothing to do with it. You can have a horse and walk that is still engaged and active. Duke is only calm because he is falling asleep, Miss Stormhammer. I took the hint. I quickly corrected my seat, pressed my legs slightly against him, and just rode him more forward, making sure I kept good rhythm. That's better. It's not a proper warm-up if we let ourselves and the horse slouch about. That is perfectly fine for a Sunday afternoon hack. But when we are about to put our horse to work, it is our responsibility to make sure fascia and muscles are properly stretched for training, that the horse is in the right state of mind. Make sure he moves those hind legs. Yes, good. And what is your experience with gaited horses in general? So far, mostly Icelandics, but I've also ridden a few other horses on vacation. Peruvian Pasos and racking horses and standardbreds. Okay, that's fine. So no Tennessee walking horses? No, ma'am. All right. Well, the Tennessee Walkers are known for their gentle demeanor. Pick up that left shoulder. Yes. They are used as trail horses for Western or English and also performance classes. Unfortunately, some of these gaited classes in America are known for the cruel treatment, using stacks and chains and even acid to exaggerate their gaits, also called big lick. These practices are banned in most states, and of course all over Jorvik. Now here on Jorvik, horses should gait effortlessly, Horse and rider should look at ease. Of course, there are horses with more action, like the Icelandic or the saddlebred, but even their gaits should not look forced. Remember that, Miss Stormhammer. Depending on genetics, the Tennessee Walker can perform all sorts of gaits: stepping pace, foxtrot, rack, many others. However, all that's important for you to know is the 3 gaits shown in performance classes: the flat walk, the running walk, and the canter. I'm sorry for the question, but how do I know regular walk from a flat walk? Is it just a bit faster? Yes and no. Simplistically speaking, it is a faster walk. But if you just speed up, you might lose him. You have to treat it as a transition to a different gait. You want him to pick up his legs properly and lift his back, which also brings his head up and makes him engaged. Start with a half halt and find the right pacing. I tried coaxing him into a faster gait, but he kept going into trot. Yes, Duke is mostly used as a Western pleasure horse at the academy, where he is expected to trot. However, he gaits perfectly fine. You just have to help him. Okay, another half halt. Sit deep in the saddle, your back is straight, slight pressure from legs, and I use my fingers to gently pull the reins in. Good. Keep your hands low. So that right there is running walk. That's not what we're looking for, but it's a start. Make sure he keeps the pace. This was definitely experience for me. I never really considered walk, faster walk, and a little faster walk as separate gaits, but once you experience it makes sense. How does it feel? So smooth, I could sit here all day. That's the magic. All right, that's good work for today. Next lesson with Duke, I want you to use his Western tack, please. Have you ridden Western before? Not much, only on trails. Well, unfortunately for you, gaited horses are quite diverse. You need to familiarize yourself not only with the different tack, but also disciplines. Okay, how should I do that? Oh, it is custom for third-year students to practice giving lessons. I'd highly recommend you set up as many lessons of different disciplines as you can. Just check the registry for a free horse and set up a time. That will be your assignment. Yes, ma'am. All right, then. That concludes our lesson. You can put Duke back in his stall. He doesn't like being out when it's cold. I really like my new instructor. I'm sure I can learn a lot from her. I took care of Duke and gave him his carrot as a thanks. Afterwards, I checked my lesson plan again, and I noticed it actually does have space for solo lessons. That means that I can take any horse I want and ride and train, or lessons with a third-year student. That's what Mrs. Ravenhurst was probably talking about. Luckily, we had a forum for all students to connect. I better start this evening to get my schedule full by next week. The second lesson for a day was a breeze. Being on Icelandic is like second nature to me. Her name was Gefa, which means snowstorm in Icelandic, so everyone just seemed to call her Stormy. She was patient and calm while tacking up, but once in the saddle she lit up. This horse was on fire, and she loved to run. I had to work very hard at first, holding her back, but once she was warmed up, I could just let her go and feel the burst of speed and the gait just bubbling up from underneath. She was so much fun to ride. Fortunately, she was very sweaty once we were done, so I spent extra time with her drying her off before bringing her back to the paddock. Because of that, I was also a bit late for the evening. we planned to gather, or at least all the students. We wanted to meet up at the market for some good food and just to get to know one another. So that was a very long but very great first day, and I thank you all for coming along and hope that you'll join me on future adventures. Yours truly, Freya.